This is Joe, and he hates his upstairs neighbors and wants to get rid of them, but he's not a murderer. In fact, he's a student at college majoring in physics, and he has got finals tomorrow. So in his anger, he thinks of ways of getting rid of his neighbors, which leads him to amazing discoveries. Suddenly, he remembers Einstein and shouts, "I know, I don't even have to do anything." So Joe in fact is sane, if you wondered. He just knows that relativity theory solves his problem, specifically gravitational time dilation. So at this point, you probably said, what the heck and how? Well, Joe knows that according to relativity theory, speed has its effects on time. This is the reason why astronauts experience time slower when they are in space, meaning they get younger in space. Also, our GPS satellites travel at 3.874 kilometers per second, which makes the clocks on the satellite run about 7 microseconds a day slower than the clocks on the Earth. But he just knows that he's not going to launch his neighbors to gain speed. So he leaves that thought. But then he remembers that gravity also messes up with time. So according to relativity theory, object with higher gravity can slow down time by pulling the space-time fabric. In other words, Earth pulls the space-time fabric, creating a curvature, which makes time travel more distance when compared to no gravitational pull. He also remembers that he lives on the first floor and he is closer to Earth than his upstairs neighbors. So he tries to guess if it's enough to slow down time to outlive his neighbors. So he Googles to find the time dilation due to gravitational pull and finds the formula. So from his position to the center of the Earth, the distance is around 6.369.5 kilometers. And the speed of light in a vacuum is 299,792,456 meters per second. And the mass of the object that causes the gravitational field, in other words, the mass of the Earth, is 5.97219 times 10 to the power of 24 kilograms. And the gravitational constant, well, don't think Joe is that smart. He just remembers that his professor was really mad at the previous finals, that he doesn't even know gravitational constant. So ashamed, he learned by heart that it's 6.6743 times 10 to the power of negative 11. And by the way, if you don't want to be like Joe, you can always go to Berlin and learn subjects starting from scientific thinking to math, computer science, and many more. During each class, you can tweak different parts of the systems to see their interactions and develop problem-solving and critical thinking skills. It's the place where I go to challenge my logical thinking skills. And if you check out the links in the description or comments section, it will be a significant support for the channel. Alright, now he just substitutes the numbers into the formula and calculates the time dilation between him and his neighbors, which is 7.433 microseconds a year. What? It's like 7 seconds in a million years. So every million years, Joe gets 7 seconds younger than his upstairs neighbors. For comparison, if you were to live on top of Everest, you would be 31.5 microseconds a year older than Joe, who lives in New York on the first floor. So devastated, and with literally 10 hours left until finals, he thinks that to pull time more, he needs bigger gravity. So he remembers black holes are very dense. He says, if only I could get a pocket-sized black hole. Then he pats on his pockets and feels a round hard object. When he pulls the object out, he lifts up his head and realizes that he just fell asleep and has 3 hours before exam. He remembers that the exam was on relativity theory. So he writes down all the calculations that he apparently did in his dream and heads out to finals. Do you want to know if Joe passes his finals? And how he always falls into weird situations thinking physics might help him solve his problems? Then subscribe and wait for more series on Joe's adventures that bring science to everyday life.